guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very nice and sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all of you. Hi, if you're new, welcome to the channel. I really hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please do consider subscribing. Today's video is all about my reading reset for 2025. In sequence, I'm going to be sharing my reading nook, my recap from 2024 of how 2024 was as a reading year for me, my goals for 2025, what my intentions are with my reading. Then we're going to be talking about my 2025 TBR, all of the new releases that I'm excited about, the books that are releasing in 2025. I'm going to be discussing my reading journal with you guys, and in the end there is a reading Notion tour waiting for you guys. I am so excited about today's video. It is a power-packed one, and I really do hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it, because this entire process of starting on a fresh page this entire year and preparing everything for my reading year is just the best feeling in the world. I feel like a librarian resetting my entire library so I can make reading convenient for myself only, because I'm also the only reader of my own library, but still. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. We are going to be starting with a little bit of a tour of my reading nook. You may be thinking that my books are over here and my bed is here. I'm sitting on my bed right now, so this is my reading nook. No, in this new house I have decided to have a new reading nook for myself, where sometimes when I get bored of sitting on my bed and other places, I'm going to sit over there and read. It's not complete yet. I do have to do a few more things about it. I'm still thinking about what to do about it, but this is what it looks like now. I have a couple of cushions over here that I am sitting on, which is going to be a cozy setting for me. I also do want to get a reading chair for myself, and I'm looking for the perfect one that will fit around with the vibe of this house. But I have been wanting to get these cushions for myself since so long. I actually did have this also in my manifestation journal of what it would be like when I shift into my new house, and I wanted these cushions in that house, which is why I got these cushions. They're matcha green color because I'm trying to emulate a sort of like a foresty, naturey sort of nook for myself. We have my trusty TBR cart over here, which is empty right now, and that is one of the things that is not ready, which once I set my entire bookshelf, only then will this get filled. And also the shelves on this side, they are also empty right now, but they will also get filled with the books that I have not read yet. So I am hoping that my entire physical TBR is going to fit in this TBR cart and in those shelves, and that shelf will have all of the books that I have already read in a very displayed manner. This side I have this little table for myself where I have kept a few essentials of the things that I would want during reading. So we have a little coaster over here in case I am drinking coffee or whatever, and I can keep it on the table. Then we have this gorgeous vase that I am actually in love with. It has this detailing like it is broken, but it's not broken. That is what the design is like, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. It feels so precious to me. This is also going to be over here, and on a weekly basis I am going to get flowers for myself and put it in here. Again, I want that flowery smell, that naturey vibe in this area. Then I have this little balm over here, because who doesn't want to rehydrate their lips when they are reading? In the end, I have this little remote over here because this is where I am sitting. The decor is upstairs. Now in the sitting area itself, I do want to do a little bit more decor. It's a stack of books and it's metallic and will go on the wall, so I think I'm going to put this over here on this wall. Then I have this wallpaper sticker with myself that I also have to put on this wall somewhere, but I still don't know how I'm going to go about it. I still have to think about it, because these things, once they are on there, like once I screw it in or once I stick it in, it's not going to come out again, so I don't want to make any hasty decisions. So these things are still left, but we have way more decor. We have this reading light, which is a neon pink reading light. I will talk more about it in, I think, my room tour, house tour, bookshelf tour, whatever is going to come up very soon. But it lights up at night, and it was a gift to me, which I love and I am obsessed with. My friend gifted it to me. And then we have all of these paintings on this side. So this blue painting, that heart in the middle of all of that blueness and water and whatnot, is sort of what books are like to me in my life, and that is why I think it was appropriate for my reading nook. And then we have these paintings that I have gotten from different places. They all represent something or the other to me that I feel on a day-to-day basis, but also the things that remind me of what reading is like for me. For example, the painting with the clowns and the kid, I have so many depictions of it. I got that one from Mumbai. It feels like me reading a book, and when I look into the book, there is a child in there. and that is my inner child. And I know that this is a little too deep and maybe that's not what the painting means, but it is what it is. That is what I see when I am looking at the painting, along with so many other things. So this entire area is actually very cozy, very thoughtful. This, the cushions, the blue painting on the top, and this, if you want to get these things, they are from a website called wari.com. Yet again, I have been wanting to get stuff from here itself since I had moved out, and I will put all of the links in the description for you to get it. And all of the other things are actually from random shops here and there that I bought when I was traveling to different places. I cannot link that down there, but I do have these things. I will put the links in the description. Wari also has a lot of other good stuff. The only thing left for this reading area that I have not bought yet is a carpet, because in front of this reading area it feels very empty. I want to get something again naturey, maybe green or pink in color, that will go well with the light and still give me that naturey feeling, and put it down there, which also I will probably get from Wari. You can go and check them out too. Again, links in the description. Now moving on to recapping 2024. I read a total of around 70 books in 2024, which I am very happy about. The second goal was to start reading more series. In 2023, I think I read around 130 to 140 books, a lot of standalone books, a lot of bingey books, those sort of books. But in 2024, I wanted to read more series so that I'm in a world for a long time, and that is precisely what I did in 2024. However, I did not stick with it, so I started a lot of series. I started the Poppy War series, the Throne of Glass series, the Shatter Me series, but I have not completed them, and that is one thing that I want to change in 2025. Because I have read more series and because I read such few books in 2024, I was actually able to read in a much deeper manner. Not to say that when I read so many books in 2023 it was insane, or that I did not really enjoy reading. I actually got so many 5 to 6 star reads in 2023, more than I got in 2024. But reading slowly and deeply was just so much more pleasurable for me, because I do reading to calm down. Reading really slows down my brain. So I also read a few books that were slower in pace. I do like reading thrillers because they're so fast-paced, they're so fun to read, and I have read quite a few of those. But then I've also read books like Four Winds, which were so slow in pace, and I thought that I will get bored of it, but I actually really enjoyed it because it really slowed down my brain, and that is precisely the feeling I want most of the times when I'm reading a book. I want to either escape or I just want to slow down. Next up, one prominent thing that happened in 2024 was that I got into tons and tons of reading slumps, and I think the biggest reason for that was me trying to make themed vlogs. My downfall started when I was working on the vlog for Valentine's Day, where I had to read only romance books that were sent to me, but I was so not in the mood to read any of them, and then I forced myself to read them. I DNF'd one of them, but then since then itself I fell into a slump. After that, for like 2 months I think, then I started reading again, and then I was like, okay, let's make more themed vlogs. But every single time I was making a themed vlog and I was forcing myself to read books for that vlog, I would fall into a slump, and the only way I was getting out of one was picking up a random book, picking up something that I am not going to read for a video. So I have so many books that I have actually DNF'd in 2024. I could make an entire video. There are like 20-30 books, especially towards the second half of 2024, where I have just picked up and kept books like nothing. There was a point where I had like 11 books going on. I was in the middle of for this one video where I want to read 10 books. All of the books in that pile have more than 400 pages in it, and I thought, I don't know why, that I will dedicate like 2 weeks to that video and finish all of them. That is not happening. I actually thought that because when I read Project Hail Mary, which is part of that video, I got through it within a day, and I was like, this is so bingeable, this is so nice. I also read The Nightingale and I got through it so quickly, so I was like, I'm just gonna get through it so quickly. But themed vlogs are so not my thing, and I kept DNFing a lot of books, even for that video and the other videos I made. Another thing was the number of videos that I was in the middle of, and then I have not made them. Some of them I still have the footage, so I will complete them at some point. Some of them I just had to completely scrap and delete. One of the videos I was making was reading the second book in a series which I started reading, Keeping 13 from Binding 13. I also DNF'd that book, so I had to scrap that video. I made a video called reading the first book in a series for which I read Shatter Me and Throne of Glass, but I could not read the third book, so I had to scrap that video. I have one video, Reading for the Wrong Reasons, already saved. I have read 2.5 books for that, and I just have to finish half a book so I can upload that video. So that happened a lot with me in 2024, so I have made some changes to change that in 2025. First up, I obviously do not have any numeric goal. I don't remember if I set one last year. Having a numeric goal, it just does not make any sense to me. And yet again, I think I've said this before because I'm having crazy deja vu right now. I enjoy watching people set a numeric goal and trying to reach it, and all of the videos that come out of it. It's just so much fun to watch, and I can only imagine how satisfying it would be to reach that goal, to see that bar get filled on Goodreads or whatever. But this is just not meant for me. I anyhow put a lot of pressure on myself about a lot of things in life. Reading is just one of those things where I get to go all free, which is why I am not setting a numeric goal this year too. However, if I'm reading around 70 to 80 books again like I did last year, I would be very, very happy with it. I will try actually not to read more than that, because the whole slowing down and reading thing was very, very beautiful for me last year, so I want to continue with it. It gets hard with my brain because I just want to know what is going to happen, and I'm reading so quickly to know what is going to happen. But this is also a good practice for me to just slow down and soak it all in. Goal number 2 is to finish the series that I have already started. 3 I have already named in this video. I also started reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. I have read half of that book, and then I have not read more than that. So I want to get to all of these series and finish them. It's not like it's a problem if I don't get to them and I don't finish them, but I have always been the kind of person who finishes an entire series within a week, because if I wait longer than a week, if I don't read them back to back, I just don't remember what happened in the first book. And even with Shatter Me, for example, I have read the first book. I remember really loving Aaron Warner for some reason, even if he was the villain, and now I don't remember what exactly happened in it though. So when I get the entire series, I'm actually going to finish it within a week or two, and I am going to reread the first book because I don't remember stuff. Goal and intention number 3, and this is a big one for me. I really hope by the end of the year I am very good with this goal, and I'm proud of myself to stick with it. I want to read way more regional work or underrated books. A little bit of a story time. I went to Mumbai for an event, and over there are so many bookstores apart from Crosswords that I was so excited to visit and get some sort of a unique book that I will not find in other bookstores. I couldn't find one. Every store I went to basically had the same collection, except when I went to Kitab Khana in Mumbai. While they did still have the same collection as other bookstores, they also had a lot of titles that I had not heard of, that are not very, very popular. So that I enjoyed a lot. But before then, I went to 3 or 4 bookstores when I was in Mumbai, and I am seeing the same titles that I see everywhere, and I was just wondering to myself, what is going on? I really want to go to a bookstore and just like look at the title and see a title that I have never seen before, read it and make it my own. You guys know, if you watch me since a long time, that is one of my most favorite things to do when it comes to reading. That is how I romanticize reading, making a book my own. For example, the Wrath and Dawn duology, even though it's a very, very popular series, I came to know later. When I came to know about that series, I had not heard about it a lot. Even now, I rarely see people talk about that series. So that series I made my own. It is very special to me, and I really wanted that, but I couldn't do it. So I have made it a goal to actually look for more books like that this year. Read more such books, read more translated work, even from India itself, like translated from regional languages. Because I was just thinking, however small it may be, I do think that I can play a role in what books are becoming popular, and if I can, then I want to use it to actually make an impact and promote these translated work, regional work, and very, very underrated books that deserve more hype. Not that I'm not going to make videos about hype books because you guys want to know my review, obviously, and secondly, shut up. I am always very, very excited to see what's the hype about, and when people are raving about a book, you do want to read it. So I will read those too, but I do want to stick with this, and hopefully at the end of 2025, I will have an entire collection of books that are extremely underrated, but we are all reading it together and having fun with them. Number 5 and the last goal that I have is lesser themed reading vlogs, which you must have guessed from the experience that I had in 2024. So I am not saying that I won't make reading vlogs at all. I know that you guys enjoy watching reading vlogs, not as much as my recommendation videos, you know, but I do know that you enjoy watching it. However, I think that the reason I posted lesser reading vlogs last year was because I was trying to make themed vlogs. So this year, instead of making themed reading vlogs, I'm just going to make random vlogs which are more about mood reading, because I am a mood reader. I am just a moody person in general. I want something the first hour, something else the second hour, and I just need to embrace that so that I'm able to read books that I enjoy, because you are also here to get good book recommendations. And if I am just forcing myself to read a book, there is a possibility that even if it is a good book, I will give it a lower rating, or I will say negative things about it and maybe steal away the joy of reading that book from you guys. I have decided to make more mood reading vlogs, or even when I upload my weekly vlogs, maybe I will put in the books that do not fit into any theme, or if I don't have any other reading vlog idea, I will fit the books that I am reading during that week in those weekly vlogs itself, so you can see my experience reading the book. I'm going to be making a lot more book recommendation videos, because when I am not reading for vlogs and I'm not forcing myself to read, I read more, which just means more book recommendations for you guys. All of the books that are on my TBR for 2025, and most of them have actually come from my physical TBR. No, hold on. Yes, most of them are from my physical TBR, because just like every year, I want to make sure that I am reading as much as possible from my physical TBR, except one series. I think all of it is from my physical TBR. I have also kept this list short because we are also going to talk about the new releases in 2025 that I'm very excited about, and those are also on my 2025 TBR. First up, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. While the positive is that it is the most beautiful, gorgeous copy ever, and I am so excited to read it, on the other hand, because it is a hardcover, it's a thick book, it intimidates me a little bit. Plus, I have also read Poppy War and Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I know that she writes very, very boldly, in a raw way, ambitious way, reading between the lines, things like that. And I think Babel is a story of colonization, something like that, based on colonization. So I want to make sure that I'm able to take it completely in. I want to annotate it, mark it, do research while I'm reading it. This year, this is one of the most intimidating books that I have on my TBR. Next up, we have the entire Throne of Glass series. I had the series on my TBR last year too, but I have already started reading it because I have read Assassin's Blade already. Before getting the entire series and reading it, I just thought that it'll be good for me to get the first book and see if it is something that I want to get myself into or not. And after I got the first book, I did want to get myself into it, and so this year I want to buy it. Number 3, which is actually like number 9 on the TBR, because the Throne of Glass series is 8 books, but overall, number 3, we have the Legend Bond series, which I got when I hit 10k on my Instagram, and I always thought it's a duology, but then later I came to know that the third book is also going to come out, and it's actually going to be a trilogy. So then I holded off on reading it because I did not want to trap myself in a cliffhanger, and I think that the third book is going to come out this year, as far as I know. So I'm going to read them all together, and that is why it's on my TBR. I have heard only and only good things about the series. Even people who do not read the fantasy genre, I think it's YA fantasy, they also love it. They also praise it. Not as much as fantasy lovers, but they also do praise it, that it's a very unique story and it'll be a lot of fun. Number 4, we have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I got an early copy of this book and I also started reading it. I read around 30 to 40 pages, but I don't know if I was in a reading slump at that time. The book was way too slow for me. The amount of details that were there in the first 30 to 40 pages, and not even about the life of the sisters. I don't even know what information was there. Also explaining the location, the setting of the book a little too much. It was all really getting to me. I was getting bored, so I dropped it. But I have all of my annotations like marked in there, what is going to mark what, because I am so excited about it. It's about these 4 sisters, and you guys know I love Little Women, I love Hello Beautiful, I love books about sisters and sisterhood and the complexities and the black and whites of it. So now I'm gonna give that book another chance. I'm going to read it when I am not in a slump, and you guys know that I want to read at a slower pace this year, so I think that Blue Sisters will be a good option for that. Number 5, we have The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This is a modern day classic, or a classic in itself, and I have been wanting to read it since the beginning of my reading journey, because it was one of the most popular books even then, and it is still very popular. And it's not just popular, I have heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about it too, so I wanted to read it. I don't know what exactly the book is about, but I remember reading the blurb of the book and thinking that even if it is a classic, it does not sound boring to me. It sounds engaging to me. It sounds like it's going to be something emotional, and I love reading emotional books, so I'm excited to read this one. Next up, we have Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I also actually have Intermezzo, but I've not put that on the list. I have been thinking about how I feel about normal people, and how the writing, while it was not common for me to read books like that, and it took a lot of brain power for me to read it, especially my first time. I have read quite a few books written in that style since that time, and I want to give Sally Rooney another chance this year and read more books by her. Next up, we have the entire Percy Jackson series. I yet again started reading this last year, but I was in a slump, so I had to drop it. I have the first 5 books in the series, and I think that after that 5 books we branch out even deeper into the world and go into the lives of either different characters, or Percy becomes older, something like that. I do have those copies too, but I don't have all of those copies, so that is not on my primary list right now. But the first 5 books in the Percy Jackson series is on the TBR, because I also know a lot of you guys have recommended me to read it. In the end, we have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. You guys know Kristen Hanna has become one of my most favorite authors. Last year, I think I read 3 books. Yes, 3 books by her last year. Now this is the one that I have. It is just a very anticipated book for me. I think it's going to be a 5-star read for me, so I'm very excited about it. Anybody who watches my channel knows what number 1 will be. This is the most anticipated release for me this year, and the book is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, which is the 3rd book in the Powerless trilogy. I read Reckless last year. I read Powerless the year before that, and I was absolutely obsessed with Powerless. However, Reckless did disappoint me, which is why even though I did start vlogging my experience, I did not finish it, because I did not even know what to say because of just how plotless that book was. So even though I really enjoyed the book and the banter and everything, the book barely had any plot, and so I barely had any point to give to you guys, which is why I did not upload it as a vlog. This year, the 3rd book is coming, and Lauren Roberts actually posted on her Instagram saying that she wanted to give Kai and Payton a chance before things go crazy in the 3rd book, and that is why the 2nd book was the way it was. So my plan is that in April, once Fearless comes out, I'm going to dedicate one entire week, and I'm going to start reading from Powerless. I'm going to read Powerless, Powerful, Reckless, and then Fearless. Read all of the 4 books in one video, and it's going to be a full-on spoiler video. Just going to enjoy myself so much in that week, and I cannot wait for it. I think it's coming out in April. I can't wait. Next up, we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with another release, and I am so excited. I have heard what it's about, but I just instantly, my brain chose to forget it, and then I could see what it is about, but I actually don't want to know. I want to go into it blind. I think it is coming out in June too, and that it just feels like a birthday gift for me. So I am so excited. I think it's coming out on June 3rd itself. How cool is that? Next up, we have Great Big Beautiful Lies by Emily Henry. Obviously, this also is a big release this year. I am so excited about it. I have liked every single book by Emily Henry that I have read. However, it is not at the top of my list because I read Funny Story last year, and while I raved about it and I loved it so much, I did love it a lot. I think I gave it 4 stars, which really disappointed me because I just want an Emily Henry book to be a 5-star, 6-star read for me. So this year I have decided that maybe my expectations was so high that the book disappointed me. Instead, if I keep my expectations in check, maybe I will enjoy the book. So next we have Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, who is the author of 7 Year Slip. You guys know I love 7 Year Slip, obsessed with it. I did not enjoy a novel story that much that released last year, but it's totally fine. Sounds Like Love sounds awesome to me and I cannot wait to read it, and the cover is absolutely delicious. I think this book is going to be about 2 people in the music field, and that does something for me. To me, you guys know Daisy Jones and the Six is one of my most favorite books ever, and in the vlog where I have read it, I have talked about how 2 artists, like 2 musicians being together, falling in love, their connection is just insane to read about. It is almost as good as reading about 2 people in the bookish world and how they connect with each other, because these people connect at another level. The connection is different. Number 5, we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood's book, obviously I'm going to read it. I have enjoyed almost every book that I have read by her. It is never below 3 stars, and that is all I ask for. So very excited about this one. Again, obsessed with this cover. And number 6, I have actually never been this happy in my life. Olivia Blake is coming out with a new book, and it's called Gifted and Talented. I think it's about 2 brothers and family feud, and that's all I know about it because I'm not going to do more research. I want to be thrown into it all blind, and I cannot wait. I actually cannot wait. I already mailed the publishers, told them, can you please send me an ARC as soon as it is available, even if it is bound in A4 sheets or something. I don't care. I really want to read it. To give you context, if this is like the first video you're watching of me, Olivia Blake's Alone With You in the Ether is my most favorite books of all times. I am obsessed with that book, and after that she did come out with another book last year, which was January's, but that is actually a collection of short stories. And while I love Olivia Blake, I am not the biggest fan of short stories, so I've not read it yet. I have it, but I have not read it yet. This one is a full-fledged novel, and I cannot wait to read it. Number 7, we have Alice Finney's Beautiful Ugly. Alice Finney is one of my most favorite mystery thriller writers, and I already have the book. I got it in December itself, and the day I got it, I ripped it open and I read it, and I have also vlogged it, and it is going to come very soon because it's all shot and ready. Just needs to go through the edits, and I was not allowed to post about it till the book released, but now the book has released already, so I can post about it. And I don't want to give spoilers about what I think about the book, so I'm not going to, but it is one of the most anticipated releases of the year, and I've already read it. Yay! Next up, we have Catabasis, I don't know how you say this word, by R.F. Kuang. Babel is the only book by her that I have not read, so once I finish reading Babel, I will not have anything to read by R.F. Kuang. Fortunately, she's coming out with another book this year, and I think it's about 2 students and they are learning magic and they're rivals, something like that. So I'm like, is this a love story? Because in all that I have read till now, I don't think R.F. Kuang really focuses on the romance side of things. So if she's going to focus on the romance side of things, I want to see how she's focusing on it, firstly, and secondly, even if she doesn't, it's R.F. Kuang's writing. I actually cannot skip out on it. It'll feel like a sin if I don't read something by her, because I'm absolutely obsessed with her. She's like my idol or something. Next up, we have My Friends by Frederick Backman. You guys know I'm obsessed with all of these authors. That's why their releases are so anticipated for me. Why am I repeating it over and over again? Frederick Backman is the author of A Man Called Avi, Anxious People, Beartown, and I have read all of these books except Beartown, though it is on my nightstand right now for me to read it, and I am just absolutely obsessed. I've recommended it like a million times, not just to you guys but also to people in my real life. So I'm very excited to have a new novel from him. In the end, I have Bury Our Bones in the Middle of the Night by V.E. Schwab, who is the author of The Life of Addie LaRue. I really hope that's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I just forgot the name. I really enjoyed the writing style in that book, and I think that V.E. Schwab has this entire backlist, like tons and tons of books and also new releases that I have not read, but I just don't feel prepared to dive into it given that I have so many other series and fantasy books on my TBR. But this one is a new one that is going to release this year. It's a fresh new book, and I thought that this will be a good place to start with reading more of V.E. Schwab's work. Let's talk about my reading journal now. I actually got quite a few comments last year to do a yearly flip through or even a monthly flip through of my reading journal, because I set up such an exaggerated version of a reading journal last year. I actually got pictures printed and I cut it and I stick it and there were bar graphs and whatnot, and I was so excited about it. I actually got a notebook that was personalized with my name on it because I was so insanely excited about my reading journal. However, I had a realization, and that is why I did not do any flip through for you guys. I did not keep up with it because I realized that I am just not a crafty person. I had a reading journal the year before that too, but I kept up with it completely because there was nothing aesthetic about that journal. It was a black covered notebook, which that can be better, but apart from that, on the insides there were just tables and my rough thoughts written down about the books that I have read and the books that I have bought and the books that I read that month and my yearly reads and my yearly buys. And it was just a very basic non-aesthetic setup, and it was so much fun. The next year I actually saw so many creators setting up their reading journal, and so then I decided that I am also going to be more creative with it, because maybe this is something that I can do as a hobby and I can enjoy the process, and it'll be something that I do in my winding down time. But I quickly realized that this is actually adding so much pressure on my mind because I am just not a crafty person. I have never been a crafty person. I like things to be clean, neat, organized and look pretty, but no printing pictures, no cutting cardboard out. I just cannot put that effort in. It's just not my thing. So while I am enjoying other creators setting up yet another reading journal this year, and I so badly want to do it again, give it another shot, I know that I'm not going to be able to maintain it. I will not want to do it at all. And so this year I've decided to not have an exaggerated reading journal. Most of my data is actually going to go into my Notion. It's going to be my library database, and I want to keep everything over there because it's just easier for me to keep everything in one place and keep it maintained and calculate all of the averages and things like that. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to have a reading journal. I am having one. It is just a very subdued practical journal for me this year. I am just writing the name of the book and what I think about the book as I'm reading it. This is something that I do personally, though I do suggest you also to do it. I do it personally because I do have a YouTube channel. I have to talk about the books that I have read, and I feel like if I don't make these notes by the end of the month, I really don't know what to say, which was actually happening with me last year. I also think that when you make notes about the book that you're reading while you're reading it, you get a deeper experience of the book because you are able to process it more, especially if you like to journal a lot. I basically process everything through journaling only, so me writing down all of these points actually does help me a lot with me understanding and sustaining what I have read more. Alrighty guys, it is now time for my reading Notion tour. So I am not keeping a reading journal this year. I am going to have a Notion page for myself related to reading where I will be keeping all of my data because that is the most practical way for me to use it, though I will have a notebook on the side in which I will put in all of my thoughts as I am reading the book. It has actually taken me quite some time to learn how to make a Notion page. I have been trying to make it since December, but I was not able to because I did not know what to do about it and how to go about it and things like that. And there are just so many options and so many things that you can do with it. But then what I did is I took another notebook and I wrote down what my goals are with Notion. And the process was I first of all made it very practical and convenient for me in a way that will help me on a day-to-day basis. So I put in all of the things and then I moved forward with making it aesthetic and putting in all of the pictures and things like that. And even now it is not the most aesthetic thing. Okay, there are like brilliant Notion templates out there and I am hoping to learn more. I am already so proud of myself to have learned how much I have learned, and this is just something that interests me a lot. I love keeping lists and data and things like that, so I think I will learn more in the future. For now, we have this base model which I am literally obsessed with because it is so functional and it is so cute and it is so pretty. I actually am making other Notion pages for other things too of my life, like habit trackers and everything, but that is going to be in another video, which is going to be my yearly reset. This, because it is my bookish reset video, that is why I'm going to be showing you the reading Notion page in this one. This header of the page, which is moon and cats and clouds, the thing with Notion is that there is this particular size of header that you need, which I am not able to find pictures in good quality, so I think I'm going to make my own headers. However, I actually still have to decide the aesthetic of all of the headers of all of the different pages, because I want them to go together with each other. But until then, I am using this one because I think it's just really cute. I have used this pink bookmark sort of a thing, like a bookmark ribbon, because what else am I going to use for my library database? And yes, I call it my library database because I feel like such a librarian because of this. I was actually going to name it my reading journal, Anchal's reading journal, something like that, but then I was like, Anchal, why are you using it? And I was like, as my library database, like that is my library and I need a database where I can store all of the information. So I started calling it my library database, and even though it's not very cutesy and romanticized or whatever, I just feel like this librarian who is going to go to her computer and look up for things in her database, her library database. So I really like it. Then we have this little quote over here. Books are mirrors, you only see in them what you already have inside you. And I think this is going to keep changing over time. It sets the right tone, and this is how I look at books basically. And then we scroll down and this is what the page looks like. Over here we have all of the months of reading. It goes down till December, and on this side we have all of the lists. These are all toggle lists, so you can actually close them and open them. I like to keep it open right now, but sometimes I just feel like when it is going to be overwhelming, I will just close it for myself. That's why I made it like this. First up, we have the new books section that includes books I bought and to buy list. This is to keep a log of all of the books that I'm going to buy in 2025. I did this in 2023, I think, and it's just interesting to see how many books I have bought. In 2023 when I did it, I still did not know how many books I bought, though I did have the name of all of the books, but with the help of this I will be able to count how many books I have bought this year. So this is how it goes. I have this book buying quote over here, and then we have this table. So these are all of the books that I have gotten recently, and then we have purchase location. Because I don't buy all of my books, I get books from publisher, I get books from you guys, I buy books for myself, and even like my family and my friends gift me books. So I want to know how I got the books that I got, so that's why I have this purchase location. If I'm buying the books from bookstores, then I also want to put in the name of the bookstore from where I bought it, because when I am making YouTube videos or haul videos, it is easy for me to mention it in the video where I got the book from. And this was one of the most requested things from you guys, like you wanted to know where I'm getting my books from. I don't always mention it because I get so many of my books from publishers itself. In case I'm getting it from a bookstore, or if I am buying it from a bookstore, whatever it is, I want to remember where I got it from. So the options I have is gifted, bargain, book hut, crossword, publisher, Amazon for now, because these are the most commonly used purchase locations for me. Then we have the date. For some reason I just like to know when I got these books, so I have the date over here. Then we have the price. Now because of most of the books right now in this list I have not bought, that's why the price is 0. In the end I do have this count section to see how many books I have bought. Now this is for like the entire year of 2025, and I have the sum over here to see how much money that I am spending on buying books, because this is another very common question that I get. So it'll just be interesting to see what I do with this. We go to the to buy list. There's so many times where I see books on reels or whatever. If I don't impulsively buy it, I just completely forget that I want to buy it. So my only two options are, oh, go ahead and buy it right now, or you forget about it completely. And I don't want that to be my reality anymore, because I don't want to impulsively buy books. I want to buy them when I want to read them. So I have made this list for myself, in which I'm going to be writing all of the books that I want to buy. So we have book name, genre, status, if I have already bought it or not, how am I going to buy it, and if I did buy it, date of purchase. So if I have already bought the book, it will be filled in over here and I won't have to think about it again. Next list of lists that I have is all of my TBR, starting with the 2025 TBR, which you guys have already seen. We have this little icon, this little quote over here. I just like putting quotes in the beginning of every Notion page. I don't know why. We also have these links to other 2 TBRs, because technically they are also my 2025 TBR, so I could go to those TBRs from here itself. In the table, we have the book name, the type of book it is it part of a series or is it a standalone? And then we have the progress, if I am reading it, if it is in progress, or if I have read, or if I have DNF'd the book. At the end of this also, we have this count to see how many books were on my TBR. And secondly, I have this that will show me how many books I have completed from my 2025 TBR. The second TBR I have is my physical TBR, which I'm not going to get into right now. In the future, when I do updated Notion tools, I'll get into it because I still haven't set my bookshelf. Once I do that, only then I will know all of the books that are there on my physical TBR. Then I will put it in and show you guys what's in there. And then we have all of the new releases, which also you guys saw, which I am excited about. I have put all of the names, the count of the books. I'm excited about 10 books, the date of release, so I know when it is going to be released, the availability in my own library, so if I already have it or not, and the progress, if I'm reading it, I have read it, or if I have DNF'd it. Over here also have this little tracker to tell me how many books I have read from all of my anticipated releases. Next up, we have all of my yearly data. First up, we have all of the books that I have read in 2025, all of the 5 stars of 2025, all of the 6 stars of 2025 because they're completely different categories in my mind, and special mentions, because even if sometimes a book is not a 5-star book or a 6-star book, it is a book that hits you very, very hard. It's just not a 5-6 star for some reason. So I want to make a list of those books too. I have made this one so that at the end of the year, when I'm making all of the books that I have read in the year, all of my 5-star reads, all of my 6-star reads, top books of 2025, things like that, I can use the data in these. Moving on to my reading goal, so I have just typed it out, no going into different pages for this because I just want to keep looking at them whenever I come on this page, so it gets rehammered in my mind. And then we have this little section of my favorite quotes. So I have sad quotes, happy quotes, inspiring quotes, relatable quotes, magical quotes, and romantic quotes. Sad, happy, inspirational, relatable, they're very, very obvious. Magical quotes are quotes that may be of any genre. They may be sad, they may be happy, they may be depressing, whatever it is, but it just makes you feel something intense, like something that you cannot describe. That those quotes will go in this. I feel like romance is very different from sad or happy, so whether they are sad or if they are happy, they will go in romantic quotes, or I will probably cross list them. On the side over here, we have my monthly reads, and this is a gallery view, so you can see all of these pictures, though they are not all filled. I just feel like these pictures really represent what I feel when I am reading, like I am lost in another world, something that is not describable. And again, right now we have these pictures. As the months pass, if I feel different, then I will change the pictures. But let's get into it. First up, we have January, so I expand the page. This is a little quote from The Wedding People. It is one of my most favorite quotes ever that I read in January, and we have this entire table tracking everything. So we have the book name, we have the author, we have the genre. I have already put in all of the genres that I read commonly. If I find a new genre, I will put it in. Then the number of pages, the type of book, is it a part of a series or if it is a standalone, the rating for the book, the format in which I'm reading it, ebook, paperback, or audiobook. Special mention, so if it is from my physical TBR, if it was a new release, if it is a regional work, if it is a translated work, things like this that are part of my reading goal this year, if I am completing any of those things, I will be putting it in this section. And if it is translated work, then translated from, because I want to see how much I am progressing on my yearly goal. Count of books, the average length of my book, the average rating that I am giving that month, and in special mention, just to see how much special mention is there. So whatever is not empty, that will be reflected, and then I can see, oh, these are the 4 books that have related to my yearly goal. Then we have all of the books that I have bought in the month of January. The other one was a yearly thing. This is only for the month of January. Book name, purchase location, the date, the price, and why I bought it. Then we have this little gallery view, because it's just so good to see all of my books that I have rated 5-star or 6-star, like their cover just popping up, which is why instead of making this a table, I have made it a gallery view. It is basically nothing when you go into the page. So I am thinking that as months go by, I will write my favorite quotes or what I loved about it and things like that. Right now it is only the picture so I can just see it pop over here. And that is my monthly page. This is going to be repeated for every month. Now February is coming up, so I'm going to be setting the entire February page in this way itself, and I'm going to start filling in. And what I am planning to do is that every night or every other night before going to bed, when I check in with my Notion for everything else like my habit tracking and things like that, I also update my reading Notion. It is literally going to take me like 2 to 3 minutes to update everything because it's so easy to use and it's so convenient for me. So if you guys have any other suggestions, put it in the comments. I will love to add it. And with that, we actually come towards the end of this video. I don't know how long this video is, but if you have stuck around till now, thank you so much for staying with me. And I am really hoping that Notion does not end up like my other physical reading journal, and that I actually read a lot of books from my physical TBR, from my 2025 TBR, from the new releases, all of those books. So if you want to keep up with the content, please do subscribe. I love you guys so much. Bye.